can hedge your bets by getting a realtor that knows what they're doing, you're gonna have that much more success, especially if they've done it. They can even explain to the agent how to explain to their seller so it makes sense to them because they've done it before. Welcome to How to Real Estate Podcast, a podcast to help you start, elevate, and catapult your real estate investing career. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new podcasts that we post every single Monday. Jared tested.
Jana approved.
Hi guys, welcome to How to Real Estate. This is Jared.
This is Jana.
And today we're excited to bring us, no guest today, but it's really cool. This is something that I know, it's something me and Jana have a lot of experience dealing with on both sides of the table. This subject is going to be really cool and very important for all the new investors and all the seasoned investors. What we want to talk about today is dealing with realtors in trying to find an investment property. And talk about the best way to kind of talk to your realtor and their realtor, and because you're doing a phone line. We're going to talk about some best practices, some ideas, maybe some scenarios, some things to avoid. Hopefully it can give you guys value. So stay tuned and enjoy. All right, Jana, so you've been a realtor for how long?
Close to 5 years.
So as a realtor, because I've only been a realtor for less than a year, not even like maybe 6 months now. Has it been that long? Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
And I've done like
I think it's more. I think with the COVID stuff, we're skipping a big chunk of 2020.
Yeah, I don't
think
even
it went
know
January, February, and now we're going into June, and that's it.
Right. What is the attitude of realtors have towards investors just in general?
Okay, so this is just general, and for the most part out there, realtors have this perception. Sorry if you're a realtor and this isn't how you feel. Again, this is just
generalizing.
From experience, generalizing just on both ends, right? As investors and real estate agents. So the majority of the time, agents feel that investors are just money hungry. They're inexperienced. They cut corners. So when you see a house that's been flipped, the first thing you do is you go and inspect the handiwork is what happens.
Right.
Because that's the first thing that you go to is just where did they cut corners? Because that's the uneducated investor, I guess, falls into that category where all they're thinking about is like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to cut corners here and here. Well,
and the reality is in a lot of scenarios, they're 100% right. I can see why someone would think that too.
Yeah. And it's different. Like you said, there's the educated investor and there's the uneducated investors. All those newbie investors that don't have any education or a mentor to guide them through the process, they end up making a lot of decisions that either hurt their budget, like they don't know how to spend their money, or B, they just cut corners and just make it a very difficult situation for everybody involved in a normal transaction. Because as agents, and you have a typical buyer with a mortgage that they're getting through a bank or however they're getting the money, there's a lot of inspections that go in play. And so as an investor, you have to make sure that you follow and you understand that process in the end, because that's where that's your end goal, right? Is to sell to these types of people.
So that's kind of what we're going up against on when we're dealing with realtors. So they're going to have the same type of attitude or thought process. And again, maybe because they had experience, that's exactly what it was, so maybe they're spot on that one experience or a couple experiences. So it's understandable. On the other hand, we have investors that think that realtors are just money hungry and they don't add that much value. Right.
Hey.
So, which is not true for all realtors. So don't get me wrong. So I'm saying, so we have these two kind of opposite sides opinions. My hands disappearing. Sorry, guys. Two opposite side opinions. And a lot of times people find their deals that's on the market. Like if you want to find a house for sale, the easiest way to find a house is for sale is to go on the market. So if you don't have time to make a bunch of phone calls, you don't have time to do all the stuff that needs to be done to be a full-time job, you probably one of your best course of actions is to connect with a good realtor and try to find a deal on the market.
Going back to the investor and agent mindset, or not the battle, but the battle between the two is, again, a lot of the time you also get the investors that call in and think you're retarded, right? They think you're stupid, that you don't know which sometimes can be the case because a lot of the agents don't have the experience with the seller finance deals or
Right.
creative financing, as we say. And so they're a little hesitant, and it sounds shady, especially to somebody who doesn't fully understand that concept. So,
Oh yeah, and it is super hard, and it's just two different worlds. If you get just a retail realtor, and that's what they do their entire career, 20, 30 years, and they're doing nothing but they're just showing people their families, they're going to buy their homes, they're going to live in it, they're just doing that. And then you come like, oh, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to flip it, I'm going to rent it. And they're like, oh, you want to do it with you're going to do it. So it's just a different concept. And a lot of they understand the basics of it, but being creative with the financing and other things, they don't know it, not because they're not smart or anything. It's just because they just don't know it. They're not in that world of investors. So they just don't know. Like, I don't know, this is crazy. You're a crazy person, get out of here. And on the other side, us investors are like really frustrated because like you'll make money. Just do it this way. You'll make money. Trust me. They'll be good. Your seller will be good. You'll be good. I'll be good. This win-win scenario. And maybe we'll first talk about is how to find a good realtor to work with you.
How to find a good agent, right? Somebody that knows these concepts. So you, as an investor, are already tapping into those resources. However, you have an understanding. So asking when you're looking for an agent, obviously ask your sphere of influence, your circle, your network. See if there's any investors or any investor agents that anybody knows. And if they do have somebody, or you do find somebody, you want to make sure that you ask them questions. Like, for instance, seller financing. Do they invest? Do they work with investors? You also want to ask some questions about how they would handle certain scenarios, their commission, because if you're an investor and you have a lot of flips that you do, that's a lot of turnover. That's a lot of listings. That's a lot of buys that a potential agent could do. So if they're not willing to work on the commission, if they're going to have a whole lot of work, then that's probably not somebody you want to work with. Again, it depends on the volume. So if you have 5 houses a year, that's not as big as 5 houses a month.
Right. No, for sure. And a lot of times one of our reactions is like, I want to get a realtor that's going to be a discount. That's what I want. Because we're always trying to, shave as much cost as we can, which is smart. But sometimes it's okay to pay the realtor the full price, in my personal opinion, because then they're going to work harder for you to get that, whether it's to find you a property or to sell your property, right? And so I think, in my personal opinion, if you are working with a realtor, paying the full commission, and maybe as you build the relationship, as you're doing 5 a month, maybe you can like, okay, can we trim it down by 0.5 or something? Maybe have that conversation at that point. Once they kind of earn that built that, okay, like I'm going to take a hit because Jared's always going to give me 5 properties a month. Deal. That's worth it. I'm making Jared happy. I'm happy. But from the beginning, if you tell him like, hey, I want you to find a property. I want you to go find me like a super cheap discounted property. I'm only going to pay you 1.5%. Go.
It's like, yay!
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. I'll get right on that. And they'll get right on it. And then that's you're gonna be placed in the very bottom of the pile too. So, I think one way to get and Jana, I think you nailed it right on the head. Like asking them questions, reaching out to your network, finding the realtor that's already been working with investors, that's doing investments themselves, and getting as many as you can to work with you, right? So whether that's just going Facebook groups, messaging, hey, I'm looking for a realtor to help me look for investment deals, and ask them the same questions that you mentioned earlier. Do you invest? What have you worked with investors before? You want people to like have you done seller financing deals? How would you negotiate a seller financing deal? How would you negotiate discounted property? All that stuff. Ask the same questions and really kind of drill down, because you want to work with a good realtor that understands you, because the realtor on the other side of the buyer is not going to understand you, right? So you need to have a really good realtor that understands the investing world. It's just like when we have Dan Hubbard on the line. I want a loan guy that's done investing. That's what I want. I want a loan guy that knows exactly my where I've been, where I'm going. So I want everyone that I want an inspector that's done investing. So he knows exactly, or she knows exactly what it is, what
you're looking for, what they need to look for you to fix. Like,
right.
I mean, yeah. So it's exactly it. You want somebody with experience working in what you're wanting to do, or else it's like the blind leading the blind, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, or even if I mean, maybe you don't know how to explain it to them well, because the one of the biggest challenges with dealing with realtors, because if especially if my realtor does not understand seller financing very well, so I have to explain how this deal would work if we did seller financing, and then she would have to explain to the buyer's agent how seller financing work, and then they would have to explain how to the seller how this would work. And so like 9 times out of 1,000, they're going to say no or say yes. They're not going to say yes. Let's put it that way. Okay. It's very rare when something like that happens, right? So it's just super hard. So if you can hedge your bets by getting a realtor that knows what they're doing, or agent, I should say, knows what they're doing, you're going to have that much more success, especially if they've done it. They can even explain to the agent how to explain to their seller so it makes sense to them because they've done it before.
And
Right.
that happens. I mean, I have situations where I've run into agents that don't fully understand or know how to explain to their client what it
Right.
is we're trying to do. And so sometimes it requires a group call with everybody, and just because I mean, I could explain it, but
Yeah.
if they want to start negotiating those deals rather than having like a
That's a good idea.
telephone situation where I'm like, hold on, let me ask them, and then I'll come back and talk to you. So sometimes we just have to do group calls during those times just to make sure everybody understands. And I think when it comes from agent to agent,
Mm-hmm.
there's a little more rapport or professionalism there, that they understand that I wouldn't want to put my license at risk, so I shouldn't be doing anything illegal.
Right.
So they have a better feel versus, if I go in as an investor and I'm not an agent talking
Yeah.
to another agent, they're going to be like, that sounds shady. I don't know you.
Right.
Nobody's regulating you. So who knows what's going to happen, and they kind of do this where they're like la la, they don't want to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So
That group call, it makes that really good point. I'd like that group call. How crazy would it be? Because I don't have your experience as far as a realtor wise. So let's just say I have a deal that I want to do. I'm creative financing with. How likely do you think would a realtor would, just on generalizing, it's like, hey, I have a creative offer I want to present you guys. Is it okay if we just jump on a call? It's kind of complicated. I want to explain everything. Can we jump on a 3-way call or 4-way call or whatever it is, and we can explain and answer your questions? Is that kind of a crazy? Is that like an odd thing to happen, or could that be like an actual thing I can just like to do? Does that make sense?
it's something you can ask, definitely ask. It's up to the agent on the other end whether they're like, you're talking to my
Right.
client, but at
Right. Which
the
is
same
a big
time,
no-no. Yeah.
but yeah, and at the same time, it's like, are they hurting their client or benefiting their client? Are they doing their duty by ignoring your call or saying no to you without even checking with their seller?
Right.
And
So
so,
one way maybe to kind of pitch that to the agent is like, hey, my like, I'm willing to like, and say it through your realtor or whatever, right? So I'm willing to pay $20,000 over. The offer is a little bit creative, so I want to go over and how this makes sense. So if you're pitching $20,000 over because you're going to do seller financing, and it's maybe because it's $20,000 over because of the amortization, and it's actually a lot, so you have to do explaining why is it $20,000 over, even though your offer is
it's the
$50,000
same.
under. So, I mean, that could be a good way to pitch it. Like, so then if you put the incentive for the realtor, like, okay, my client's gonna make more money. I may not understand it, but let's get together. I can answer the questions. I can really put the guy in the spot. Because the problem is that the realtor can be really happy up front, but then as soon as you walk away, like, oh, this is a bad deal, I wouldn't take it. I mean, that's possible that could happen, right? So
Right.
having the ability of them respond to the questions right there would be really nifty.
Yeah, because the other thing is, I've noticed a lot of agents get, well, I mean, to anybody, I guess would, but when you have somebody asking, hey, is there a mortgage? How much is the mortgage
Right.
for? How much is the monthly payment? It seems like, I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but it seems like we're like, they just
Yeah.
asked me to take my panties off. It's like so
Especially here in Utah.
taboo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like so taboo. And you're thinking, I'm just trying to, I need the information, first of all, so that I can present a good offer, or else I'm just, who knows
Right.
what this is going to do, whether you accept it or not. I don't know if it's going to take care of the mortgage or not.
Yeah.
So I think having the agent there, or both agents, during that conversation, we're like, okay, I just want to present this offer, but I'm going to need some information, and I'd like you to be there just so, you can kind of monitor and just make your client feel better,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So there's some strategies for you.
That's good. Those are good tips. No, for sure. Yeah. It's all about how you present things, how you pitch things. I mean, in essence, we want to sit down and you do seller financing deal. So it's crucial how you wordsmith it to make everyone feel nice and cozy. It's very important. One thing I do want to talk about, one little tip, if you're, let's just say I don't have an agent of my own, I find a property on Zillow or Redfin or something like that, and I'm really interested in it. It's on market. I can actually reach out to the listing agent, and I'll say, like, if I'm not an agent, right? Even if I am an agent, I can still tell them they can represent me. But what I'll say is like, hey, I'm interested in making an offer on this property. I don't have anyone representing me. If you like, you can be a dual agent. Double agent. Double agent. You can be a dual agent, which means that the agent will represent the seller and the buyer, which is okay as long as it's all disclosed and everyone's okay with it, right? So that agent will make twice as much. So they're going to make 6% instead of 3%. So if an agent has an offer with the same exact amount and the same, you have to be fiduciary for responsibilities, but he's going to probably say, like, you know what? I think Jared's offer, I have a better feeling with Jared. I think he's going to close. We're dealing with agents. As an investor, even when I'm presenting seller financing offers, or I always make sure that I make it very clear that they will get their commissions. Mm-hmm. So that's something. I know they have the fiduciary responsibility, but let's be real. People are people, and they want to make sure they're taken care of. Okay. So not every realtor is like this, and I don't think most of them aren't, but there are some of them that where, despite their license, despite what they have to do, they care about number one uno, which is themselves, right? So I always make sure that even if they do care about their client, but it's more incentive for them if they know that they're being taken care of as well. So when I'm talking to, for example, if I'm doing a seller financing offer, a lot of them like shut it down. Like, no. For one, they don't know what it is. They don't understand it. And two, they're worried they won't get their commissions. So seller financing, it's not a normal financing deal like through a bank. So where they're getting the commissions coming from, So I always tell them, like, don't worry. When I'm having the conversation with an agent, it's like, don't worry. I'm going to make sure the down payment's big enough so that all commissions are paid. So I make sure I always tell them that, like, hey, I have a great idea. I'm going to offer your client a little more extra money. You're going to do it this, and this is the paperwork you have to fill out. And so all we got to do is this, and this, and the down payment is more than enough to make your client happy, and also enough for the agents to be paid. So I've literally had like, oh, okay. I've had like agents like, oh, like they were like really concerned about everything. But as soon as I said that, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that makes sense now. Yeah, we can do that. Like literally, I've seen it in their face. It was like this to, oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, right. There we go. There's the important part.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they may would have done it before, but I don't know. I'm giving benefit of the doubt, but it definitely helps if you show them the benefits of it, right?
Yes. Letting them know that they're going to get paid for all the hard work that they've already
invested. Rightfully
so.
Yeah. Right.
It's kind of like, it's funny how I hear, sometimes I hear investors say that they want to work just directly with the buyer, or not the buyer, but a seller. Like they just want the homeowner. They want to cut out commissions. Yet those same people will go and buy a wholesale deal from the wholesaler.
Because it's commissions.
Yeah, there's a commission there, and there's a commission on the agent side. So it's like, what are you talking about?
Right. When you are dealing with realtors, especially in this market, even during this COVID time, homes are just going like crazy. Mm-hmm. So I mean, the market hasn't really. I mean, maybe it's slowed down a little bit, but it's still going, right? Yes. So dealing with agents, it's you have to be quick on the deals that you see. So sometimes if I even if it's off market, you should be quick anyways. But sometimes you have a little bit more. If I'm the one that knows about this property that this person needs to sell their property, I might be able to take a day and a half to do a deep analysis and give them a really solid offer because no one else is interested in it. As opposed to an actual deal on the market, I gotta be like within 5 minutes, I gotta tell my realtor, this is the price I'm going to give, this is what I'm going to do, this is the terms, And you can do quick analysis, and that's totally fine. But you can renegotiate too if you have to. So you don't have to be like locked in. Don't be fearful. But The
Mhm.
speed is another factor too.
Yeah, definitely, especially in the market right now, seller's
Yeah.
market.
Right.
They're seeing multiple offers. I mean, there are deals on the market where you see, investor special, as is, needs a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of work type stuff.
Right.
So they're expecting investors to obviously put in offers on those properties. The only thing is time. The
Yeah.
person who can submit it the fastest is usually the one who can get the deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for
Which
sure.
goes, I guess, with you too. Like, and when you're talking to a homeowner, if you can present the deal right then and there, then
Oh
that's
yeah, it's better. I mean, it's by far better, and highly recommended. Like when I say day and a half, like you shouldn't wait a day and a half to give someone an offer, but it's regardless, you're not under as much pressure as
right.
if you are with a deal to the market where 300 people are looking at that same deal that could potentially offer more. Because I've seen with investment properties, people are way overpaying for properties. It's insane. It's just like, how are you making any money? I mean, I've seen people lose money, like literally seen people lose money. It's just because I've watched certain houses when I put offers on. When I was looking, last year when I was looking at the market like heavily, I would watch people like, okay, so they bought at this, and then I would like kind of keep an eye on it, and like 6 months down the road, I'd take a peek at it, and then they listed for this. You can't see my hand. They listed
I
for
know.
this.
I'm like, what are you doing?
They listed for this, and then they had to put it down, and then because they wanted to make money, but then they overbought, so they had to list it for way over than its actual value, like $50,000 over the value. A couple of them I saw. I'm like, that. Good luck there, buddy. And so
Mm-hmm.
they're just dropping and dropping and dropping it, and then they lost money. There's just no way. But find the right realtor, right? So getting references, asking questions, making sure that the realtors know that they're getting they're being taken care of, right? Maybe even doing group calls when you're making offers for creative financing. That helps. That could be a good. Jana gives some really good ways to describe it. Offering seller's agent to be a dual agent to represent you, so they know it's right for them. What other tips do you think we have in our last 5 minutes that you can give people for dealing with investors, for dealing with agents?
I would say let them know that you're working with them, instead of having like 20 agents that you're working with. Um, Let me rephrase that. I should say you can work with as many agents as you want. The thing is, if you do get an agent that gets a deal, don't then go in and like say, hey, okay, this is the one deal we're going to work on, so let's have you reduce your commission, how we had
Yeah.
talked about before. So if you can show your agent that you'd like to work exclusively with them, they're going to work really hard to get you deals, to get you the best offers, to work with you on commissions, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, you're working with that person alone. But I've seen a lot of situations where investors are reaching out to different agents at the same time to go see different properties. And it's like, that's our time that we have to dedicate to finding these properties, to scheduling appointments, because yes, we have to schedule appointments, and then taking our time to go show these properties, when I could have showed the same that other house that you had the other agent do. And or vice versa, if I put in an offer and somebody else is working hard trying to get that thing, it's just unfair. So let's just be fair out there. You want to make money, we understand that, but we also want to make money and don't want to waste it. So
Sure.
you also don't want to burn bridges, and you don't want to, let go of those connections or sever those ties, because you never know when you're going to need that agent or when you're going to work with that agent.
Yeah. And the cool thing is when you tell them, like, you allow your agents to double dip. So like, okay, you found this deal for me. You did the work. I'm gonna pay you the 3% here. When I do my fix and flip, when I list it, you are going to be my listing agent. So, oh
Mm-hmm.
wow. So now they're thinking like, okay, I'm getting 3% here, but now when it gets better, $100,000 plus, I'm getting 3% there. I'm getting, 3 times as much as, well, not 3 times, but yeah, I'm getting a lot more than I would have before just on a single purchase. So to add to your point, it's just showing loyalty and giving, again, it's just providing value. And this is not just agents, everywhere you can, right? The more value you provide to other people, the more you're going to get back in return. That's what it comes down to. That's a good life mission or lesson just in general, I think. Awesome. Well, guys, we appreciate this. Is a short podcast. We just wanted to talk about the short little theme about dealing with realtors as an agent, or dealing with agents as an investor. It's very important, especially this day and age.
Or dealing with investors as an agent.
Oh yeah, there you go. Exactly right. Which applied both ways, 100%. Hopefully, this kind of bridged the gap a little bit as far as the mindset and see how we see each other and what we can do to kind of make things like, oh, we're all going to win. Perfect. Let's do this. And so if you guys like this, you want to please like and share. If you like and share, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. If you're listening to this on podcast, make sure to subscribe as well. Share with your friends. Really appreciate it. It helps the podcast grow. And let us know if you're looking for a good realtor here in Utah. I know a few.
We know a couple.
Know a couple. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. We love you. Appreciate you.
Bye.
We hope you liked that podcast. Stay tuned for next Monday for a brand new podcast and a brand new guest. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.